Well, we certainly seem to be moving at a pretty good pace, though it's really hard to tell if we're going through faster in this version than the fan remake, especially this early in the game. Okay, I don't think we ran into the enemies that fall like sheets on paper this early in AM2R. It's not a major thing, but still a bit disconcerting here. Right, so we got 4 next on our kill list at the moment. Why is it that we need to use a charge beam to open a door one time, and every other time we don't need to use it anymore? And why is it that I'm confused about that for charge beam doors? That only started to be a thing for this game, but I don't give a damn with every other special door lock we've come across, like the missile ones that we destroy in all the games. And more importantly, why in the hell is it I bothered to open that door when they made it so obvious that it's obscenely hot on the other side? Seriously, they couldn't have possibly made that door seem more dangerous to us, but I just stormed right through as if I was absolutely blind to the way it was glowing. Did we just... Seriously, did we run into dangerously warm rooms this early on in AM2R, or are things happening a bit early in this game? Part of me thinks I should have destroyed that one with a missile instead of doing the whole counter thing. The other is still trying to get the timing down for the counterattacks. Okay, completely incapable of opening on one side, and has a barrier that I don't know how to get around on the other. A barrier that really doesn't matter that much, since it doesn't look like we can get to the other side of that door just yet, but still looks like something that should be concerning. Definitely getting the sense that the save points in this game are closer together and more frequent than the last one. As a side note, I think I've finally managed to solve my controller issue with free aiming after that particular break. I most certainly do appreciate the ability to aim with more precision than just 8 or 9 general directions, though I'm going to have to get used to not having that ability again once we're done with this game. Sure, it's for understandable reasons, but still a bit of a shame. For some reason, I thought our shots would be blocked by a wall there. Definitely very satisfying to do counter kills on these things, even if they are just very basic enemies. Okay, doesn't look like this one is using an attack that can be countered. It's just pooping acid onto us. I'd ask why any creature would have that kind of defense mechanism. But then we're fighting on a world full of creatures that start off as energy-absorbing floating jellyfish, and then metamorphosize into giant T-Rexes, and eventually get some reasonably proportioned arms to go with that. Okay then, let's see how the bomb opened things up for us. I can only think of one bomb-specific barrier off the top of my head. Plus, of course, we need a way out of this room using a bomb as well. There we go. definitely much less of a pain in the ass when you have a scanner to speed things up. I already feel like I'm gonna miss it when we get to Super Metroid after this game. Of course that block just had to reform the moment we wanted to go the other direction. I know it's not that big of an issue overall, but it's still kind of annoying. Not really sure what to think about the fact that regular enemies are a good deal more durable than usual while being able to dish out more punishment than ever before. Or the fact that we managed to lose an entire energy tank worth of health before we've run into the first actual boss of the game. I'm pretty sure that nervous is kind of a reasonable response there. Well, at least the bats can't change direction in the middle of an attack. That's a small mercy. Okay, so those statues are there for the sake of giving us teleport points. Does one statue only lead to one specific one, or do they all link together? I'd certainly appreciate the second option if backtracking is genuinely going to be needed around here. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up being the case, considering some of the other changes we've seen between this game and AM2R so far. Definitely gonna be seeing a lot of early use of the scan pulse. While some people may say it takes part of the fun of the discovery process away, I personally say it just takes away the busy work of exploration. The less blindly feeling around we have to do, the better in my book. Right. Again, I somehow doubt we're gonna have any missile issues when we find the next Metroid. You know, for some reason I thought bouncing off of an enemy would help us do a wall jump on the other side. I know, bit of a stupid idea to try. Still, if you've got the durability to take a hit and a solid feeling that you're gonna be getting some healing soon after anyway, why not give it a shot? For some reason I was hoping there'd be some more breakable rocks to our right. Ah well, we're close to the next Metroid now. Kinda had the feeling it was gonna be in this room. Wait, the ice beam already? That was one of the final upgrades we got in AM2R just before we started fighting against baby Metroids. Why in the hell are we getting it before we've even seen the second Metroid? Ah! Apparently because we needed to get from point A to point B where the next Metroid is. I'm not sure if I should applaud the change or be annoyed that the ice beam doesn't seem quite so dangerous to the various regular enemies in our way. Sure, I can let go of half of the PS4 controller in my hand and use the mouse to click the power beam back on, but that's still as inconvenient as letting go of half the handheld console for a bit to futz about with the stylus. As much as I can respect Nintendo for doing what they can to experiment, I can't help feeling it'd be better for us to have a button combination to hit rather than this convoluted mess. Yeah, as far as I can see, an extra platform there doesn't get us anything. So let's just keep moving on. Why can't it be as simple as going to the pause menu to activate or deactivate various suit sections? Sure, in its own way that would be cumbersome, but still, at least we wouldn't have to take our hands off part of the controls to do something that just plain doesn't feel right. And yes, that is an overall issue I have with 3DS controls in general. Whereas with the Wii, when I still actually owned one, it was fun to use even if the control schemes for each game weren't always quite as intuitive or reactive as I'd like. And of course, now the Wii is such a pain in the ass to assign controls for, since each game is going to have a slightly different bit of controls than others, that emulating it, sometimes it feels like more trouble than it's worth. Right, guess I've given up and decided to use the mouse to do that bit of control. Guess we're gonna have to switch to the ice beam whenever we get to the next Metroid. Definitely painfully close to us here. Just no idea how to get to the bastard. Do we go up then down, or is there a way to go down a level right from here? I know I should just set off another of those scan pulses to be sure, but if anything, I'm distracted by the fact that I can't seem to figure out how to get to the ledge on the right regardless. Ah, damn, that felt close, but not quite there. Right, doesn't seem like there's a way to just blast our way down, so we're just gonna have to freeze that thing at just the right point in order to make it back up that ledge. I know, not actually all that harrowing when you get around to doing it, but still, wasn't expecting to have to do navigation like that this early in the game. Excuse me for finding it a bit funny that we have to move away from the Metroid in order to actually reach it. It's not like I could have expected that our equipment wouldn't be able to account for an unbreakable floor between us and the next target. But as annoying as that is, it's not like we're in a rush to get the bastard or any of the other Metroids on this planet. We'll slaughter them at our own pace. Right, definitely gonna need the spider ball in order to go up from here. Not that I have any idea when we're gonna get the spider ball, especially since we've gotten the ice beam so damn early, and there's a third slot for something else in the beam section along the way. Is the spacer even going to be a thing in this game, since we've got so much freedom to shoot in any direction now? Okay then, can't climb out that way. Should have seen that coming just from the way the wall is angled on the right in here. They most definitely put a hell of a lot more work into the remake than a lot of other people tend to do for their own remakes. Of course, now I can't help chuckling over the fact that Nintendo put so much love and care into the remake of Metroid 2, a game that, for the most part, was a forgotten gem in one of their less popular series. Really shows a passion for the series, even if it's not one of the major blockbusters of the company. Anyone else wish that other gaming companies had that kind of attitude towards games these days? Instead of just putting a hell of a lot of work into what they know is already gonna be a hit regardless of what they do anyway, and kind of screwing over everything else along the way. Definitely like the fact that at least one enemy seems to have trouble moving through the water. Never was a fan of moments where it feels like an obstacle is only a danger/annoyance to the player and not anything else that might happen to touch it. Though sometimes the reason why is understandable enough. Again, close, but the wall jump isn't gonna get us through here. But it was worth a try all the same. Again, really wish there was a means to change which beam we have on that didn't involve letting a hand go from the controller. Well, since there's no way we're gonna get that missile upgrade for now, let's handle the Metroid that happens to be nearby. And I'm just gonna groan at the fact that I didn't notice this was one of the unopenable doors, and that it took me a bit to notice the convenient morph ball route right next to the save point. Ugh. Okay, definitely not what I was expecting on the other side. Really? We're supposed to shoot the door open from one side, then rush over to the other in order to actually go through the damn door? I know, I should just get around to opening the door since I know we can using that little hole on the other side. But we've never had that kind of obstacle in this series before, and I don't think we're gonna see anything like it ever again. My brain just cannot help going through all the other possible options before this particular obvious one, since this is just not something that I typically think of when I come across a Metroid game. It's not unfair or complicated, just different enough to make me go, what the hell, for a little while. I would wonder how many more times we're going to have that issue as we push forward through this game, but at this point, I think I should just throw all my expectations out the damn window. Okay, so this maze has multiple entrances from the top that all lead to the same path. Guess it's inaccurate of me to consider it a maze, especially since it also has multiple exits. Right, partially buried Chozo statue here, and an upgrade just sitting underneath some rubble over there. In terms of what we see in the environment as we move around, I can't help feeling this game is a lot more immersive than anything else the series has thrown at us so far. But then that's probably a little unfair to the other 2D games, since this one was specifically made for much better hardware, which had a lot more graphical ability than the stuff that came before. Speaking of, definitely like the fact that the spider ball looks like a bunch of spikes suddenly popping out of the ball, instead of it just being a green glow that lets us move along the walls and ceiling. Okay, why didn't I use the scan pulse just to see if there was anything breakable in here? And we've most definitely managed to find a room that has the next Metroid. Really like the fact that it both came from the background like that and seemed to have a different attack pattern than the first one. Granted, I doubt that all of them are going to have their own individual attack patterns, but the fact that they got so many options for attack really makes it just more fun to run into the same type over and over again across the game. Not too sure if that means we're going to have any of the 2-on-1 or 5-on-1 situations against this particular breed, like we did in the previous iteration of the game, though. As a side note, wow, I am really proving to be crappy with the missiles against this thing right now. Okay, definitely spent more missiles than I thought I would on a single fight, but at least it looks like the ice beam also causes some damage to these things. That's certainly a nice mercy, though it doesn't change the fact that we nearly died to the second Metroid. And we've got 3 more to deal with in this undefined area. Wish that noise told you what direction the breakable block is from your current location, since the pulse goes further than we're able to see. Ah, there we are. Not too sure why the game decided to lock us into the room where we've killed the Metroid, but still, at least we got a path that might lead us out of here. And we've got an energy tank for our troubles. Okay, so we couldn't go back that way even if we wanted to. Not that I can think of much reason why we'd want to, considering we cleared that room of the Metroid and the only upgrade in there. It might be a waste of time, but let's see if there's anything further upwards. Well, at least we're nearly healed at this point. That's got to be worth something. Though with how close the next save point is, it's not like the damage is all that much of a concern for us right now anyway. And just as I say that, we find a health generator. Ammo generator right next to it. How nice. Now, considering the ice beam hurts the Metroids in this game and how precise you have to be for missiles to do damage, we're probably not going to be throwing around missiles as much as we did in AM2R. Again, in hindsight, I probably should have used the scan pulse sooner. And again, why the hell is it that when we get that noise that there's something breakable, we don't get something to show us where that breakable thing is if it happens to be flashing just off screen from where we scanned it? Probably spent more Aeon energy to find these blocks, but at least we found them. Definitely gonna be a lot harder for the game to keep secrets from us. At least compared to all the other Metroids we're gonna be going through. Well, that's certainly a new kind of barrier to prevent us from destroying a block above us. They're definitely giving us a lot of nice puzzles right from the start. Yeah, definitely gonna be a pain in the ass to kill the one in between the sections here. And of course we're not gonna have a way to get to that minor missile upgrade unless we find some way to deal with those odd winds that absorb our bombs. Huh. Or we could just use a missile to get up there. They're really making us use our brains a lot earlier than we would in the other 2D Metroids so far. It might have been better if we saved this game for last for the 2D entries instead of directly in the middle. In terms of gameplay, this one certainly has all the others beat in plenty of categories, even if I'm not all that convinced it has the same foreboding atmospheres AM2 are. Not that it'd be easy to pull off that kind of foreboding atmosphere when we've got a move like the melee counter that we are using quite frequently. Okay, interesting to note that shooting when we've countered an enemy means the shots are more powerful even to unstunned enemies that happen to be between us and the thing we actually countered.